The podcast you are about to listen to contains at least one of the following: strong language, disturbing topics, abusive opinions, generally things that aren't appropriate for little kids or overly sensitive people. So, if any of that stuff's going to get your nose out of joint, this is your chance to turn it off. Welcome to I Had to Say It, the podcast where I not only say the things I need to say, but the things I think you need to hear. And your feelings, they're not a factor. Hey everybody, so we're going to start out as we do by saying to Josh, B-Word, Jason, Miss Aaron, Mike, Tabby, Javier, Fitz McShane, El Jefe, El Devlin, El Morte, and the fellas over at The Weathered Report, thank you guys for your patronage, your support, your friendship, and everything else that goes along with it. You are the real rock stars. All right, just a couple of small matters of housekeeping, very light housekeeping this week. Since I hit the deadline for where I said up your subscription level and you could get some of the Ken Madden work, I still have 2 coloring books and one of the prints left that could be distributed to people. And I've decided I'm just going to put some names in the randomizer and spin the wheel. I'm going to do that on a live stream this weekend. So I'm going to give everybody till Friday night to get me just email, note, text message, whatever, something saying, put my name in the deal. Just kind of like the last time I did a giveaway. But I'm shorter context because I'm kind of, just tired of giving long windows and only getting 3 or 4 answers. So you got till the end of the week to tell me you're interested. Saturday night, before Whiskey Hell starts recording their show, because I'm not going to miss out on the live chat for that. I'm going to do a live stream drawing, so I'll go live probably around 8 o'clock Central. Give me enough time to get it done before the guys start their stream. And, so that's the first piece of housekeeping. The second piece of housekeeping is I want to put this in here because just in light of the way things are going in this country right now, and apparently the thought police are in full effect. If you follow me on any of the social media platforms, make sure you've got your notifications turned on because in the, I think it's still fairly unlikely. I'm not really significant enough to necessarily merit a visit, but on the other side of that coin, I do most of my social media presence is actively calling out the White House press accounts and saying derogatory things about things I think are fucking stupid in this country and the people that I feel are responsible for the fucking stupid things. So you never know. Because the FBI has started paying visits to American citizens because of their social media posts. It's come out multiple times. I've seen multiple videos of it and it's been across the spectrum. It's been people, there's a lady that was pro-Palestine that got people claiming to be feds that never showed her ID, showed up at her house. We've got conservative influencers that are more pro-Israel getting visits from the FBI in relation to posts. The lady who got the visit from the FBI that's a pro-Palestine person also happens to be a person of the Muslim faith. And she, so they're really kind of all over the board based on what's been popping up on the radar so far. And on the off chance they come to see me, my immediate reaction is going to be to start live streaming for 2 reasons. 1, because I want people to be aware of it, and 2, because I don't want to get shot. And I think they're less likely to do it on live stream because I can tell you through the gate I'm not going to be cooperative. Because in every one of these interactions thus far, it hasn't been anything legal. They're not, they've always prefaced it, you're not in any trouble. We just need to talk to you about X, Y, and Z. And we want to know if you have you're listed as having contact with these people that we might be interested in. If there's anything you could tell us about what they're saying that would give us, basically they're really trying to get some people to snitch on other people based on all the interactions I can see where they are definitely violating constitutional and Bill of Rights clauses at this point. And realistically, if they come to my house, it's not going to be anything positive, and I'm sure I'll probably have a note put in my file because at this point I'm 110% convinced that if I'm not on a watch list, then I'm just really not doing my job right at this point. These people are, there are a lot of people out there talking about how all the alphabet agencies need to be defunded and disbarred and disbanded. And I'm inclined to believe it if this is how they're going to be spending their time. This is not defending the American people. This is defending the regime in power. And realistically, I hate to say this for any of the more conservative-leaning people. I've said it before. I'll say it again. Trump is not going to be God's gift to shift things. He had his opportunity to change things. He had a chance to make things different, to make a difference, to rein in these out-of-control, unelected, shadow organizations, basically, people that are operating outside of the purview of the public control and dictating policy and trying to regulate without any due process how Americans are living their lives. It's like the ATF and all these other government organizations that issue edicts, but technically don't have the legal right to pass laws. They can offer their advice. They can say this is what we think you should do, but technically they should not be making laws. It's not enumerated in the Constitution. These agencies shouldn't fucking exist. And they do. And I've been vocal about it up to this point. If you're listening to the show, this should not be news to you. And like I said, for all the rhetoric, all the posturing, all the posing, and I think out of the two primary candidate options, I'll take the Cheeto over the fucking pedo. But ultimately, he had 4 years in office, and he grew the deficit. He grew the government. He did not cut the fat. He didn't drain the fucking swamp. He had a chance. Now, granted, he had Congress stymieing him at every opportunity because, realistically, you got a bunch of rhinos. You got a bunch of people who are not actually conservative because it's all uniparty bullshit. They all work together. He was the outsider. They all work together to stop him from getting shit done. At least that's the way people want to spin it. I really didn't see that much coming. I mean, he said shit that I don't agree with. He did shit that I don't agree with. He was pro-lockdown. He was pro-jab. He was excited that he warp speeded a jab. The only difference is he didn't mandate it. He just said he thought it was a good thing that it was getting rolled out. Biden's the one who said, no, we're going to force you to fucking take this shot. So there's, point Cheeto. Then on the other side of that coin, Biden's always been about stripping the Americans of their Second Amendment, but Trump didn't do any fucking better while he was in office. He said, we'll take the guns first and worry about due process second. He literally fucking said it. It's not a matter of question. But, on the other side of that coin, again, this isn't really a coin. It's more of a fucking D20. But ultimately, you look at both of them and you look at their pros and their cons. And unfortunately, I as per usual, when it comes to presidential elections, I won't be voting for either of them. There's not a libertarian candidate that I really feel comfortable throwing my vote to at this point, who honestly I think the libertarians would be the closest thing to an actual third party at this point. The Green Party is a fucking joke. Most of the other people try to get in on some sort of third party ticket are fucking worthless. Libertarians align most closely with my personal values, which is, they're conspiring to get together and leave everybody the fuck alone, which is realistically, that lines up with what I think a lot better. But ultimately, the point being, out of the two disgusting, deplorable, worthless fucking candidates that I think are up there, Trump's less worthless, I guess. I mean, like I said, his first 4 years in office didn't really impress me. And yeah, there was the whole pandemic thing. And unfortunately, I don't agree with the way he handled that. He handed the fucking reins to that little fucking crotch critter Fauci, beagle-killing piece of shit that he was. And it was, the whole thing was a fucking disaster. And like I said, I'm still really hung up on that whole Second Amendment thing. That one is, we had the second for when the first stops working. And realistically, the fact that they're constantly trying to disarm us, they're constantly trying to push the security state, they're constantly trying to get us to roll over, us to cave, and they're ignoring the population in favor of this like globalist horseshit agenda. And you can't even say it's the Republicans or the Democrats. It's both of them. There are plenty of these globalist, elitist sacks of shit in office on both sides of the fucking aisle. The only difference is the conservatives are still trying to say, well, the ones that are doing that are rhinos. They're only Republicans, and they're Republicans in name only. No, they're globalist pieces of shit. They're all uniparty assholes. They're controlled opposition to each other. They are providing an illusion of choice to the population to try and keep us in check. The only difference is that illusion is crumbling because they don't think it's necessary anymore. They must be comfortable enough in solidifying in their power where they're going into this like overt oppression and having federal agents come to your door and to talk to you about your social media posts is a direct violation of the fucking First Amendment. We still have the right to say what we think. Doesn't matter if it's offensive to people. It doesn't matter if it's hurtful to people. It doesn't matter if it gets in somebody's feelings. You still have the right to say it. Now, the back end of that coin is that also means you have to take the consequences for the words you choose to speak. But that doesn't mean they should be illegal. You should not be saying jail time for saying something that hurts somebody's feelings. You will lose the avenue and the venue to fuck with that person anymore, because if that's how it used to work, that's how it's supposed to work. That's the ideal. If somebody says or does something ignorant, stupid, or out of alignment with your beliefs, you don't have to interact with them. You're under no obligation to deal with them. So they believe something you don't agree with. Oh my God, boo-hoo, go cry into your fucking pillow. Get the fuck over it. You don't have to interact with people. I prefer it when people can be assholes openly and out in the open, because then I know who the fuck I don't want to be around. When people are too scared to actually be their actual selves because they're worried about legal consequences of it, you don't know who's sitting there looking for a spot to bury a knife in your fucking back. At least with assholes, you know where you fucking stand. And the weak-minded, weak, constitutional, poor seed fucking jagoffs that should have been pruned from the fucking tree of humanity generations ago, but they're the product of failure seeds because realistically their ancestors probably were one of the kids that were a reason warning labels started showing up on everything. These motherfuckers, oh no, words are violence, words hurt. You fucking low testosterone, weak-spined, weak soul, weak constitution-having motherfuckers. You are a key to why the shit is collapsing. And the fact that people can't deal with the shit, the fact that people can't understand a very basic concept like, if someone says something you don't like, you don't have to silence them, you just have to leave them the fuck alone and stay away from them. This is shit that should be taught in fucking kindergarten. Oh, you don't like Johnny? Well, don't fucking play with him. Go over and do your own thing the fuck over there. Johnny's an asshole. Johnny eats fucking boogers. Let Johnny be, and one of these days Johnny will be a fucking scumbag in the gutter, probably shooting up, and he will die young, and hopefully he doesn't procreate in the process. But oh no, we have to mollycoddle Johnny, and we have to force Johnny and Stevie to play together because if everybody's not getting along and everybody's not happy and shiny together, then the world's a bad place. Fucking dolts. Now you might be saying, Aaron, okay, you're overreacting a little bit. You're getting worked up over nothing. Sure, maybe the feds went to, maybe it's because this lady was a Muslim and they thought she had ties to a terrorist organization. They're doing this to protect us. If that's what you think, you're not fucking paying attention, because a Muslim lady was only one of the people. The other one was a very conservative guy who's been very critical of the Biden administration and is pro-Israel. So, obviously, the trigger was not the Muslim thing. And realistically, I've seen, over the last couple of days, I've seen some of the social media posts she made. I've seen the stuff that this guy made because it's somebody I follow. Not really comparable. Saying you think that Hamas should be erased because they're fucking terrorists is really not the same as calling Zionist Nazi people and demanding scalps for Palestine. Sort of a different rhetoric. Not really the same thing at all. Howsoever, if you do believe that it's the same rhetoric, just different organizations that you're aiming at, that's your opinion. You're entitled to it. And you may be saying, why am I so bent out of shape about this? It's not like they're actually getting arrested or anything. No, but this is how it fucking starts. Because if you look at how most of Europe has been going for the last few years, in terms of getting fucked over by open border policies and all this other nonsense, they're a little farther ahead of the curve than we are, but we're doing our damnedest to catch up to them. Again, globalist fucking nonsense, but you know, at least here we're still armed and can push back, which is why the government's still trying to fucking disarm the population, because it doesn't work real well when the people you're trying to replace can replace you instead. It's, you know, one of the founding tenets of this fucking country. And you say, Aaron, well, why are you so bent out of shape about this? It's not like they're arresting people. They're not going house to house. First off, everybody who was arrested for anything to do with January 6th would like a word with you, so, you know, stop being fucking stupid. The DOJ has been completely weaponized against the population. And if you think people that were charged for taking an unguided tour through the fucking Capitol building and are still rotting in jail without even getting their day in court yet, if you really think that the same organization that threw all these motherfuckers in jails for protesting a fucking election that they realistically more and more has come out making it look really suspicious, you know, all kinds of vote audits are coming back saying, well, we didn't actually verify these numbers. The entire state of Washington has exclusively mail-in voting. There are no polling places, and an organization has found that multiple places that were listing having high density of volume of voters registered at those addresses were like single-family homes that there's no way they were housing 25, 30 fucking people. There were votes being mailed out to P.O. boxes that you're not supposed to do. Being mailed out to people who were claiming residency at gas stations and grocery stores, according to these voter registration numbers. So, yeah, the security and integrity of our elections is extremely suspicious regardless. But the other thing that's kind of got me bent out of shape and worked up about this is, again, looking over at Europe and the utter shit show that is going on over there. And you look at Scotland. Now, Scotland... for you guys, I don't know if I've ever actually mentioned this, but Scottish heritage is part of who I am. I am of Scottish descent. And I always kind of appreciated the fact that, maybe some of my ancestors were out there willing to, kick the English in the fucking taint for just being obnoxious colonists. But I don't know. I haven't done any real deep dives, but that's always the side of the thing I prefer to think my ancestors hopefully came down on. Now, Scotland has a law going into effect. It will go into effect as of the Monday before this episode drops, April Fools, April 1st, yada, 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 saying that hate speech can now result in things where you go to fucking jail. You say something online, somebody gets butthurt and decides to file a complaint that it's hate speech, and you could wind up in fucking prison or being penalized, and not like little tiny fines. I'm talking like deliberately punitive, high-volume fines. It's utterly fucking disgusting. And then you look at it, and realistically, it should come as no surprise, because the Scottish PM is somebody who has gone on record as saying that there's not enough representation in the Scottish Parliament because he's surrounded by white people. This is a non-white individual. He's not a Scottish native. He's a migrant. And he's there, and he's bitching that he is the only brown face in the room. And it's a utterly ridiculous fucking statement. It's this ultra woke, ultra leftist horseshit mentality that, we don't have accurate representation because I feel alone in the room. You're the highest seat of power in the fucking room, which I don't know how this prick got elected in the first place, but he did. And he's in there bitching about this shit. But here's the thing. Regardless of all the recent migration to Scotland, the population there is like 95% fucking Caucasian. It is a bunch of motherfuckers that look like me. Big, goofy-ass, pale, pasty motherfuckers. It's not a real brown country. There's a reason there's not a lot of brown representation in the parliament, because the population is a bunch of pasty white motherfuckers. It's not inaccurate representation because you're the only brown face in the room. Percentage-wise, you're still above the curve. You don't get to bitch when you're being proportionally represented. Fucking people are so dumb. I'm so sick of this utter horseshit of these dumb motherfuckers who say, well, I don't feel that we're prevalent enough, even though when you look at the actual population numbers, we are more than adequately represented if we are going to keep an actual ratio to the population. There's 99% white motherfuckers here. It's 99% white population. You're drawing from white population pool. If you want to keep the numbers accurate representation, you're going to have 99% white motherfuckers in the office. It's really not complicated. It's basic fucking math. If you are a slimmer percentage of the population, you are not entitled to an equal representation in the numbers in the representatives. It's not a complicated thing to fucking figure out. But all these dumb motherfuckers are, equity is what we're going for. Equality is what's important. Now, equity of opportunity is fine. Being given the same chances, that's one of the problems I have with all this DEI horseshit. Because realistically, if you're the best person for the job, you shouldn't want any of that shit. And all the people that are out here plugging for it and stumping for it and saying, DEI is because these people weren't being given a fair chance. Well, that may have been true once upon a time, but now by saying you're filling quotas, you are removing having the best. I've gone on about this before. I would rather have the most qualified and the most capable person doing any job I have to deal with somebody in. Their complexion, who they want to fuck, none of that stuff should be a factor unless it's directly related to the job. If I'm paying to get fucked, I want to get fucked by somebody who's the best fucker on the planet. Other than that, I don't care who they fuck. I don't care how they fuck. It's none of my fucking concern. I want them to be the best at the job I'm paying them to do. That's it. That's all. The only fucking metric that should fucking count. And if I was one of these people of any of these things, I would be so staunchly anti-DEI. If I worked my ass off to get good enough to take that spot, to fill that spot, I wouldn't want anybody able to question my qualifications. I wouldn't want to be looked at and have people just look at me and go, pff, DEI hire. I would be disgusted by that concept because it immediately puts an asterisk to everything you fucking accomplish, whether it's true or not. And the thing is, I've heard plenty of people that technically fall under the umbrella of DEI qualifying individuals saying the exact same thing because they are cognizant enough to be aware they put the fucking work in to be that fucking good. And they don't want their legacy marred by some horse shit of people constantly questioning whether they were actually as good as they needed to be to get that position. But you can't explain that to people who have a mentality because, frankly, there's no shortage of losers in the fucking world nowadays. Losers love this shit because they can't accomplish. They can't survive. They can't win. They can't do anything based on merit. They can only do this based on having the playing field tilted. Not fucking leveled, but tilted to help their advantage. It's like a motherfucker that's got one leg shorter than the other one, and he wants to have the race on the side of the hill because for him it's level, and for everybody that's normal, they're going to be fucking trying to keep their balance. It's utterly fucking ridiculous. And yet, the masses of unskilled, worthless, lazy, stupid, pathetic idiots are clamoring for how great this is because it removes the actual hard part for them. It's not even a lack of ability. It's a lack of the willingness to put in the fucking effort that we get there. And meanwhile, it's getting compounded. We've still got the government spending, millions and millions of dollars on illegals that they could be spending on American citizens that need help, We still have tens of thousands, if not more, like unhomed veterans that aren't getting the medical care that they deserve since they served their country. They're not getting the mental care that they need. They're homeless. They're on the streets. A lot of them are suffering because they can't function because of the shit that they've been through, whether it be trauma from their service or physical injuries from their service or a combination of the two together. It's utterly fucking disgusting. And it further feeds into all this shit. The military recruitment is ridiculously down. They're not anywhere near the numbers they need to be. And we've still got this administration kind of sleepwalking us towards World War III. They've got, as of a couple days ago here, there's rumors that there's something like 30,000 UN troops on their way to Ukraine right now. That is literally a fucking act of war against Russia. Ukraine is not a member of the United Nations, regardless of where you stand on that issue. Personally, I think we have enough of our own problems here. We don't need to be funding their fucking war that they cannot win. Literally, the most optimistic thing anybody can say right now is if they can hold on until 2025, they might be able to push back Russia. Not they have a chance of winning, not they're going to get all their territory back, but if they can hold on another fucking year, they might be able to push them back. Meanwhile, Congress is getting ready to send another $60 billion fucking dollars of U.S. taxpayer money over there, while completely neglecting our own borders, still doing everything they can to just flood this country with illegal immigrants. And as I've said numerous times in the past, I'm not anti-immigrant. We need immigrants. Immigrants inject a little flavor into this country because if you leave a country isolated with no immigration for hundreds of years, you wind up getting fucking Riverdance. That's not mine. Dennis Leary said it, and he's not fucking wrong. And anyway, point being, I'm not opposed to legal immigration. I'm not opposed to people doing it the right way. I'm not opposed to people trying to better the situation, better their lives. I understand that, people need to flee shitty situations. Howsoever, there's a right way and a wrong way to fucking do it. There is a necessary balance that needs to be struck. And people don't talk about it. It's not like we're not letting immigrants in. This is still like between 1.5 and 2.5 million legal migrations every year. It's not like this number is unreasonable or unacceptable. It's also not just saying anybody can come through, because contrary to what every major mainstream media talking point will try and say about the fucking matter, other countries have flat out gone on record, like, yeah, they've emptied out their fucking prisons. Their prisoners are all either here already or in fucking route. We have, like, Venezuela has stated they will not accept deportations for criminals committing violent acts in the United States. They're not willing to take them back. Me personally, I'm of the mindset we don't give them a fucking option, because Venezuela, even though they've made some huge steps in turning their country around in the last year or so since they started sending all their fucking criminals here, they aren't on our level yet. There's no reason we couldn't say you're taking these motherfuckers back because they belong to you and we don't fucking want them, other than the fact that we have leadership without a fucking spine and with whose priorities are not this country. There is literally nothing about the current administration or the uniparty assholes in Congress that inspires any sort of sense of national pride or happiness. And it's not. I'm at the point where I can't say it's accidental anymore. This shit is being done to us deliberately. And that brings me to the next talking point I have in my little bullet points here, is just right before recording here, the White House has come out and the president has proclaimed that Trans Visibility Day will fall this year on March 31st, Easter Sunday. Now, in and of itself, I don't fucking care. The whole trans thing, like I said, I've said it before. If you're an adult and you want to transition because you feel like you're in the wrong skin, that's fantastic. Leave the fucking kids alone. Let them work through their own shit. Let them figure out where they are. Don't try and tell a 4-year-old that happens to be a boy that likes wearing dresses that he must be in the wrong body and he needs to be on fucking pharmaceuticals for the rest of his natural fucking life and he needs to be castrated. Because those are the realities of medically transitioning a child. The child is rendered sexually impotent and will be dependent on drugs for the rest of their fucking life. So, if you want to look at the nefarious implications of the matter, yeah, you're creating lifelong customers for Big Pharma, which is something the government seems to be absolutely fine with, despite the fact that Biden likes to get out there and, I made Big Pharma answer that they have to negotiate on drug prices and insulin caps for seniors. This old cocksucker doesn't have any problem against going behind a bunch of ideologies that will guarantee them income for the entire lifespan of their customers. The same reason they don't actually cure shit, because there's no money in curing conditions. There's money in selling treatment. That's why the things are the way they are. So you have this rotten old cocksucker that comes out here and says, we're declaring Trans Day of Independence and it's on Easter Sunday. Now, since Obama started doing the whole trans in the Day of Visibility, or I think it was Obama. I want to say it was 2008 when they started doing this shit. It's been traditionally March 31st. Now, that doesn't say it has to be. There's nothing that mandated when the initial proclamation went out that was going to be Trans Visibility Day every year. Because if that was the case, he wouldn't have to proclaim it Trans Visibility Day. It just would have been a thing already. But the White House issues this Trans Visibility Day. It falls on Easter. The Christians are all bent out of shape about it. Now, if you happen to be of the bent that this is particularly wrong and it's a violation against your religious beliefs and yada, 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 I don't know what to tell you. Because the way I look at it is a secular statement, a day of impact, whatever, should not have any direct impact on your religious beliefs, philosophies, faiths, or structures. It's now a lot of the more ridiculous Christian types are saying, this is a direct slap in the face because they know that transgenderism and the LGBTQIA, LMNOP, QRST motherfuckers go against everything we believe in, and this is they're spitting in our face. No, if anything, this is being done deliberately to rile you up and get you chomping at the bit at each other instead of paying attention to shit that's probably more fucking relevant. Because let's face it, if you're really that worried about Christianity, you shouldn't care what the fucking government says, because the government's not supposed to be involved in your religion. The tax collectors aren't supposed to be the fucking ones telling you how your faith works. If your faith is that easily shaken by somebody else saying, hey, I want to acknowledge X, Y, and Z, then your faith in itself is weak and needs to be questioned. That's a you problem. That's not the rest of the world. Your spirituality, your faith should be a very personal thing. You have no right to force your beliefs on anybody else, nor do you have any right to have anybody else tell you what you can and can't believe. Howsoever, if someone else holding a different belief is that much of a fucking threat to the way you view the world, it says more about you than it does about them, and you really need to stop and have a good long think. That being said, the Biden administration really could have pushed it back and said we're going to declare April 1st Trans Visibility Day, but they're not going to do that for two reasons. First off, it's April Fool's, and how fucking funny would that be? And second off, it's the start off of an Arab holiday or religious observation, and they're not going to do that. They are the Queers for Palestine people don't really represent very well of people that are that disconnected. That's not a group that you're going to. The Christians will bitch and moan and rend their hair. The Arab nations, they are still throwing motherfuckers off our roofs. It's that in terms of who you're going to piss off by, pandering to one group to rile up another group. That's not the conclusion you fucking want to pick. And honestly, the fucking people handling Sleepy are a little smarter than that, I think. And they still don't want to offend the alphabet people, so they're not going to put it on April 1st because that wouldn't be very very sympathetic. That wouldn't be very ally-like. That would be way too easy for the bigots to make jokes about it. And, oh, my God. See, everybody knows it's a joke because we're acknowledging trans people on April 1st. It's a big joke. Get it? Ha, ha, ha. I mean, like I said, again, I don't give a fuck. If you're an adult and you feel like you've spent your entire life in the wrong fucking body and you need to get out there and transition and become a different person and change your physical body to reflect more accurately who you think you are, good on you. Do you, boo-boo. I don't fucking care. If you're a decent person and you get a transition and you're still a decent person, I'll still be your friend. If you were a piece of shit and cutting off your reproductive organs and trying to pass as something you're not biologically doesn't stop you from still being a piece of shit, then I'm still not going to fuck with you. If I didn't fuck with you before you transitioned, I'm not going to fuck with you after you do. Unless you have some massive personality sweep and all of a sudden now that you're in the right body, and I'm using big heavy air quotes when I say right body, if you all of a sudden feel like this fixed your shit and now you can be a decent fucking human being because everything is going to be right with the world now that you went through this procedure, then good on you. Do what makes you a decent human being. But if you're still going to be a miserable fucking prick after the surgery, then fuck you. You're still a miserable fucking prick. That doesn't mean you need to be acknowledged. You don't need extra attention. You don't need a day of fucking visibility because you're a fucking prick. And in terms of one of the things people are all bent out of shape about is, oh, well, do they really need another National Day of Visibility? And I don't have the numbers in front of me because it's really not that fucking relevant to me. But I did see something on there that listed literally every observation and every official statement declaring a day of visibility or an awareness day or Pride Month or trans whatever celebratory week. And it's 147 days out of the calendar year are in one way, shape, or form designated to acknowledge someone in the alphabet group, the LGBTQIA LMNOPs. So you don't need another day of visibility where you're if you would have gotten all bent out, oh, well, you bigots are saying we just because it happened to fall on your holy day, we shouldn't get acknowledged. Motherfucker. The Christians get Easter and Christmas has been completely secularized, and Easter's right behind it. That's the other thing. I got sidetracked by the whole trans thing, but the thing that really kind of burned my ass about the way the White House handled this, and at this point it's literally no surprise to me because the White House has been utterly incompetent in everything they've done for the last 3.5 years. Or maybe not incompetent, because I'm fairly convinced this is all deliberate, but it's extremely tone deaf and it's very poorly managed because I really think the powers that be think the general population of this country is completely fucking retarded. And I'm inclined to agree with them about a huge segment of the population being completely fucking retarded. You know, taking the warning labels off of things and letting stupid motherfuckers breed like rabbits has had consequences. But anyway, back to before I derail myself again, dealing with all the dumb motherfuckers that are walking the earth. The thing that really got me is right before this happens, the Biden administration, there's a tradition in the White House that goes back to like 1857 or some shit of having on the lawn of the White House, they do an Easter egg roll where you get a bunch of kids and they get their little decorated Easter eggs and they get to roll them down the lawn, and it's a race and it's all cute and fun. And anybody who took their kids to it this year, I question your fitness as a parent. Maybe DCF should be coming in and visiting you for bringing your kids within fucking 30 feet of that creepy old bastard. But again, I digress. But the White House issued a statement saying the art projects and submissions to the competitions could not contain any religious iconography or imagery. It could not have any religious themes. Now, what this is the part that is and not enough people are bent out of shape about this. This is the part, if you're a Christian, you should be considering this a massive slap in the fucking face. Not the tranny thing. That's deliberately inflammatory to stir people up and to make a very marginal segment of the population feel special because their feelings are what count. Feelings are more important than fucking reality. So, and then, of course, the people who want to be staunch allies of said minuscule sliver of the population so they can feel good about themselves for, not having any real worth in the country, but actually saying, oh, well, I'm an ally and I stand up for these people and that's what I provide value. That's how I provide value. But you're not only providing value to 0.6% of the population. So you're really not doing much. You're just being very vocal and being a fucking obnoxious twat in most cases. But yeah, that, like I said, the training thing is completely fucking irrelevant to the White House taking what is one of two extremely significant issues of the Christian faith and completely secularizing it and trying to make it open for everyone, whether they practice the faith or not, by saying, oh, it's about bunnies and eggs, and Jill Biden put out her education, staying with her education theme and everything she's doing in her outreach as the first lady. Now, despite the fact that Jill Biden has the fashion sense of a fucking 1947 furniture upholsterer and has the most garish, disgusting taste of any fucking first lady I've seen in my life. I mean, even as much as I fucking hated Hillary when she did the Christmas decoration stuff, at least they were subtle and understated and traditional and nice. They weren't glaring and fucking gaudy. And I mean, trying to put Hillary in couture is ugh. But at the same time, at least she carried herself she didn't look like somebody fucking sewed Meemaw's curtains into a fucking gown. But I digress. So they again attempted to secularize Christian faith. This is a lot of what is being done by this administration, and it has to be deliberate at this point. I don't think Joe's doing it. I don't think Joe does anything other than sign whatever they put in front of him, and they give him a bunch of fucking meth to trot him out on the stage, and when it starts to look like it's wearing off, they cue a light to get him off the stage before he can open his mouth and fuck up the program again. And I guarantee it's going to happen again soon. He's going to be out there saying something, and he's going to be like, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I got real hairy legs, and that corn pop was a bad dude. He's going to be talking out his ass. And because, again, every time you see him out in public at this point, the cocktail's wearing off faster and faster. And the fucking, signs of dementia. If you've ever been around anybody that has fucking dementia, like your own family old fucks, that we're all going to be old fucks someday. So I'm not saying this in a derogatory or insulting way. It's just the reality of the matter. We all are someday going to be crotchety old fucks unless we all wind up dying in the upcoming Holocaust that is pretty much inevitable the way the world's going these days. World War III's right around the fucking corner, guys. Stay strapped, get clapped, stock up on everything you can hold down, and fucking solid assets. Invest in the precious metals, lead and brass. But that's besides the point. If we make it to being old fucks ourselves, we'll be exhibiting these same symptoms someday, unless they somehow figure out how to stop brain degeneration, which, I believe they've made progress, but it's obviously, you can't keep the leader of the free world from looking like a fucking head trauma patient after about 30 minutes on stage. They haven't got that dialed in just yet. And this is somebody that's in Big Pharma's pockets. He should be getting the best out of all their treatment because he's a useful puppet for them. But he's kind of reaching the end of his usefulness. Again, he's deteriorating faster and faster. But if you look at his speech patterns, you look at the way he goes off on tangents, if you look at the way he starts yelling and getting angry when anybody questions him anyway, part of that could be contributed to a lifelong career of being a worthless political parasite and a massive fucking egomaniac, because that's definitely entailed in that particular fucking aspect of his reality. But those are also classic signs of people that are dealing with early onset, whether it's early onset, advanced onset. It's the beginning stages of dementia. When you get all angry about shit, you start losing your temper and yelling over dumb shit, over somebody asking you a basic, legitimate question, over somebody questioning something you just said. Those are actually, telltale signs that your mental facilities are slipping. And every time anybody has the audacity to say it, it's, oh, you're a maggot, you're a fucking Trumper. Like, no, I'm a realist. I don't like Trump either. I like him more than I like Sleepy right now because I believe Sleepy is 110% a puppet. I think Trump's just kind of probably easy enough to manipulate to a certain extent. I believe Putin when he said, yeah, we don't want Trump in office because he's unpredictable. He is a little more loose cannon. But like I said, he also had his first stint in the White House, and he didn't do a lot to endear him to me. I mean, I'm sticking with until somebody worth voting for shows up on the ballot, I'm going to keep voting for fucking Bill Murray. And that's just the way it is. But yeah, so we got the Alzheimer front man who's, out on stage and being the little dancing guy. Whoever it is that's running things, if you look at the way like the press releases are being come out on the social media platforms from the White House, again, this is completely disregarding the fact that they're still actively trying to censor all the media you see, and they're using the DOJ and the FBI to go after people that are saying things they don't think people should be hearing or posting things they don't think people should be reading. And they haven't actually officially tried to lock anybody up for it just yet. They're still treading a little more lightly, but that doesn't mean it's not in the cards. Hell, this might be the show that gets them to come talk to me. Who knows? But everything they've put out in terms of, Ramadan and every other ethnic or cultural or any sort of holiday on the calendar that hasn't been Judeo-Christian based, they're all, oh yeah, we're proud to honor this, and the brave people of X, Y, and Z, and the people who believe this, and we hope you have a somber and religious and blah 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 blah. And as Christians, like, oh no, fuck you. Not only can you not bring your party favors to the party, but we're going to invite all these other people who think your party favors are the fucking absolute worst thing on the planet, and we're going to tell them they can come to the party too, and it's going to be okay for them because none of your shit's allowed. It's all just it's deliberate. That's the part that really frustrates me, and these dumb motherfuckers just don't see it because it's working. The conservative Christian types are all fucking worked up. The fucking leftist, ultra liberal, fucking alphabet people are all self-righteous and defensive. And meanwhile, we're all getting fucked in the process. Just the degree of ease with which most fucking people are manipulated at this point. They're not even trying anymore. And then you get like these dumb motherfuckers, the WEF motherfuckers, and all these other assholes, the climate globalist assholes. They're not even saying they're saying the quiet part out loud anymore. They're not even saying it quietly. Well, we need to do this to implement control. We got Klaus Schwab coming out saying, oh, well, people that oppose the government in their life, they have this thing called libertarianism, and it's a threat to our plans. And like fucking Bill Gates. Bill Gates, the other day I saw a thing about Bill Gates thinks planting trees is a problem for the environment. Planting trees, plants feed off of carbon, you fucking idiot. I don't know why everybody acts like this fucking prick is some brilliant guy. Yeah, he's a smart guy. I'm not saying he wasn't an intelligent individual, but he wasn't some be-all, end-all. He didn't even create Windows. Somebody else created it. He just took the software and marketed it. He was really good at fucking marketing, and everybody thinks he's this fucking brilliant human being because he managed to work out a deal where all the PCs that were an emerging market had his shitty operating software on it. It wasn't the most powerful. It wasn't the most efficient. It just happened to be the most user-friendly at the time. Yeah, it's a smart move, and he's not a dumb guy, but he's not some fucking super genius either. He happened to make a shit ton of money because he was in the right place at the right time with the right fucking thing, and he saw the right angle to market it at. That doesn't make him smarter than me or you. That just makes him good at marketing shit. And this dumb motherfucker, he's constantly harping on about climate change and how we need to decrease our carbon footprint. Well, no, you dumb motherfucker. Here's how you deal with carbon if you're really that fucking worried about carbon is impacting the planet. You stop cutting down the fucking trees, Bill. Trees eat carbon. They breathe it in and they expel oxygen that we need to survive. Now, if you're that worried about the amount of carbon in the air, you plant more fucking trees. You don't buy a whole bunch of wooded territory and cut it down. You don't fucking take all this farmland and start burying trees on it because that's going to somehow help with carbon. You fucking cretin. And then you look at UK and England and Scotland and Wales and all these places where they're putting these utterly ridiculous fucking climate change measures into place. And they are cutting down forests to put up fucking windmills. Again, you fucking dolts. This is not how you address the problem. You're actually compounding the problem by taking away the naturally occurring things that would balance out the shit you seem to be so fucking concerned about. But oh no, let's cut them down and let's put up this monstrous fucking virtue signal that actually is environmentally much worse, because once they break down, and they do break down, frequently, they are no longer of any use. They cannot be recycled. They cannot be upcycled. They cannot be used for other things. And they require thousands of barrels of oil to fucking function. But no, by all means, build the stupid windmill, cut down the fucking trees, and then bitch about climate change, you fucking mouth breathers. I swear to God, part of me just thinks they deserve it. The society deserves to be knocked back to the fucking Stone Age, and maybe we'll get it right the second time around. And again, with these fucking climate nutballs, like this massive, in I think it was Texas, this massive field of fucking solar panels that were put up. Because, again, green energy, and they never delivered on their promise. They never generated enough energy to be a net positive. It was still, the price of electricity was inconsistent and fucking outrageous in Texas. And then a hailstorm came through and was like, yeah, fuck your little panels, destroyed the shit out of all of them. Again, can't be recycled, can't be reused, can't be repaired. And they're leaching tons of toxic chemicals into the fucking ground. And now the Texans who went along with putting all these fucking things in place and knocking down fields and taking up grazing land and destroying fucking naturally occurring things that would counterbalance the shit they were so worried about, and refusing to, even consider things like nuclear power, which is actual clean energy, as opposed to all the other shit these assholes want to talk about. No, they want these solar panels that were destroyed by nature and now are now going to poison the fucking water supply, which is, kind of ironic, just desserts, if you ask me. I think the climate cult is a death cult. It's never been anything but. And the fact that people don't see it just, again, testifies to how well they've been brainwashed, how well they've been conditioned, how well they've been trained. And that's the thing. You can't tell them that, because that's part of the brainwashing, is they will never acknowledge that they've been fucking brainwashed into buying into this fucking ridiculous shite. But the reality is what the reality is. These are the same people that refuse to acknowledge facts, to refuse to understand that certain things are simply fucking subjective and other things are fucking objective. Objective facts are fucking facts. Subjective facts are your feelings and whether you like the truth or not. But we can't process that. We can't deal with that. We have to just, oh no, feelings are important. Feelings are what matters. If you feel like you should have accomplished more and you should have done more, let us give you more, even though you didn't actually fucking earn it or do anything to deserve it, because your feelings need to be spared. Your feelings are the truth. Your feelings are a reality. No, your feelings are a you fucking problem, and expecting the rest of the world to cater to you and kowtow to your fucking little fragile self is fucking pathetic. Again, there's no shortage of losers in the world, and losers are the ones that are backing this shit up. And unfortunately, the way the system works is they've created a system that creates more fucking losers, so they have more fucking support. It's this giant snowball effect, and it's really not going to work until the snowball hits a fucking tree, the world fucking collapses, and we got to start over, and hopefully we get it right next time. And I'm frustrated, I'm angry, I'm venting, and I guess now that's what I had to say. Thanks for listening to another episode, guys. If you liked what you heard, leave a comment, leave a review, leave a rating. Go to ihadtosayitpodcast.com, sign up for the mailing list, interact with the show. Click the links, sign up for the Patreon, join the Discord, come and interact, be a part of the show, buy the merch, support your favorite creator, or support me. Anyway, thanks for listening, guys. Till next time.